Alright, continuing with the storyline, we have Shale giving us a calculated evolution, level 100 as usual for these, obviously, because we're patch 7.3 quests still. And we are in Containment Complex 10-29 in of Solution 9. Yeah. Here we go. Right, I'll get this door open. If the voices sound different, it's been a couple days and I never really remember how I did them previously. Yeah. Phew, smooth as silk. Let's head inside and see what awaits. Cutscene. Gods above, isn't that... says Cryle. Looking up, it looks like. We have a big screen, like one of those screens you'd have in a command center kind of thing. And it looks like we do have what looks like that hourglass kind of shaped key thingy. One of them floating in here. The key to interdimensional fusion? That looks to be a schematic on the monitor, says Shale. And they've used it to make another key. But isn't it missing the shard inside that like the one Mercy has? Says Wook. Ah, we may have been laboring under a misconception, says Cryle. The key was originally a Milala relic. Once this treasure came into its possession, preservation began working to harness the power to cross dimensions. Aside from the crystal, we can see that all the vessel's components were constructed here. So what might that tell us? My options are the crystal itself is the key, or this is just the device they made to control it. This is just the device they made to control it? I put a question mark on there because I don't know. That would be the logical conclusion, yes. It is as my parents explained. Cutscene flashes white here. We see her parents as we met them. The key remains shrouded in mystery. Preservation augmented it with electrope, but never grasped the technology's underlying principles. To this day, not a single person understands the mechanics of interdimensional fusion, not who imbued the key with its power, not when they did so, nor why. Now it makes sense. Calyx can track the key because its vessel was made by preservation. I believe there is much we may learn in this room. On our next visit, I will have to enlist Yishtola's assistance for a thorough investigation. I too am curious about a great many things, but pinning down Calyx's whereabouts is our priority. Hopefully there's a security card here that grants access to the director's office, says Sphene. The research conducted in this lab appears to have been highly confidential in nature. Some of the personnel must have belonged to the organization's upper echelons, and that means higher security clearance, says Shale. We should spread out and look for any cards they left behind. Remember, anything less than level 3 is no good to us. And the cutscene fades as we all go about our business of searching and whatnot. Okay. Storage crate. This lone storage crate is filled with document binders and other miscellaneous objects, none of which are security cards. What we have here is I'm gonna call it rectangular, it could be square, but it's definitely a rectangular room, in the center of which is a big kind of circle platform. There are monitors and keyboards at 3 different points on the outside of the circular platform, and stairways leading up to the platform between each of those stations. There's something being held, that hourglass kind of shaped key device. Something like that, probably without the crystal, as what we're kind of talking about, is floating in this like containment field in the center of this platform with, the necessary other parts to create the containment field, basically. On the outside of the room, we have some other monitors and stations and more like this. This looks like a 3D printer kind of thing. Looks like it might be printing another goblet hourglass key thingy. There's actually a bunch of them. There's 3 of them. Here's Galulja. Why are they making so many vessels? Did the other ones not work properly? Here's Sphene inspecting one of those consoles around the center platform. I'll search through these drawers. One of us is bound to find something, I'm sure of it. Looks like there's some storage containers on the other sides. The big monitors here, kind of just showing a detailed representation of the hourglass chalice body thingy and a bunch of like measurements and data. Some big old storage compartments. Here's Wook. Maybe someone left a card on a shelf somewhere. Cryle. I don't have to talk to these people, but sometimes I think in the last quest it told me you probably should, but I don't know. I keep holding out hope that I'll find some evidence of my parents here, but despite knowing there is none. Here's a cabinet drawer. I search. You find a security card in the cabinet drawer. Oh, did you just find a security card? Well, that's a stroke of luck. Let's have Shale examine it to be sure. And Shale was the last person to talk to anyway, so yeah. Well, if it isn't exactly what we needed. Nice work, Mercy. Cutscene. We're all on the center platform. Oh, a level 3! That should get us into the director's office, says Gulul. So, what was it that you were hoping to find in there again, Shale? Shit, says Sphene. You were saying that a certain device was going to help us? Right, I haven't properly explained myself, have I? I'm looking for a data relay. I cock my head. After we discovered this ostensibly abandoned complex, I performed a cursory investigation which detected a connection to an outside network. When I traced the data's routing, I confirmed traffic from a web of Everkeep's security cameras. Considering the way Calix is always one step ahead of us, we must assume he's quietly seized control of the city's surveillance system and has been using it to monitor our activities. To monitor what you, as the keyholder, are planning. But since Calix is the ultimate recipient of those transmissions, the flow of data is like a river that we can follow back to him. Which is why I need the data relay. If I can analyze the device and see where it is routing all this surveillance traffic, then you can pinpoint Calix's position, says Sphene, and Shale nods. That said, he has done nothing to impede our progress, which makes me think I might be on entirely the wrong track. Maybe the reason he isn't stopping us is because he can't. Back in the old castle, Calix said that he was measuring Mercy's strength. What can he possibly dream up that's stronger than her? Everybody thinks on this. Oh, speaking of cameras, there was another thing I meant to mention. I found evidence that someone deliberately disabled the surveillance feed in this room. The most recent recording was also crudely deleted. I was able to restore the data, though, if you'd like to see it, says Shale. I'll start the show, then. Cutscene goes black. Beep, 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 beep. That's me, making computer noises, because that's what computers sound like. We see a video feed of a woman, I think, and a man approaching her.
Are you really planning to leave?
Says the man.
Yes. The idea of eternal life. It's begun to frighten me.
I struggle to renounce our conventional wisdom. Death is the means by which life prunes its branches, leaving the trunk to grow strong and tall. We die so that our species may flourish.
The reason that the audio quality got better is because it transitioned from, like, as if you're viewing it from a security feed to they actually made the cutscene, you know?
What would become of mankind were we to halt that process? If unending stagnation is the fruit of our labor, then perhaps we strive for the wrong thing.
His eyes are completely covered by his hair. The hair only goes down, like, to just past the eyes, but I don't see eyes at all. It's a dumb. They did a dumb.
Your argument is a rejection of Master Calix's vision.
I suppose it is. Perhaps such dread would not plague me, were I capable of sharing his perspective on the subject.
But I cannot. He and I are too different. In too many ways. I lack his extraordinary genius. I had no illness threatening to cut my life short, no singularity of will to cut away all distractions and focus solely upon research.
I have nothing but respect for his determination. The way he overcame his prognosis and seized the means to transcend death itself. But I'm not convinced that this obsession with living is the right path. That's why I've decided to leave preservation and put all my effort towards building a legacy for the next generation to come. Surely you...
She is turned back to him and is stopped in the beginning of her sentence by him shooting her.
Protocol, you understand. There can be no exceptions.
And he looks up to the camera. I thought he was going to shoot it for a second, but that would not... That'd be different than what I saw in the room at present time, because the camera is still there in present time. Shale looked up to it. Looked up at it, whatever. She only wanted to leave and he executed her. Sorry, that was Sphene. She only wanted to leave and he executed her. I checked the images against the personnel data, and the man who pulled the trigger was Director Demetrius himself. Everything I could find on him pointed to a deep infatuation with Master Calix, says Shale. The cameras in the room have been out of operation ever since that incident. Given that the recording was erased, I can only assume he was trying to conceal his grisly deed from the other researchers. I am not surprised, given how my parents described their defection from the Institute. They spoke of rushing me through a portal, even as Preservation's agents closed in on them. I dared not ask what became of them after that, but if it turns out they were captured by their pursuers... They were captured, and yet they lived on in the Endless World. So maybe this lady is somewhere there? Were they not... Wait, I can't remember. We get a couple of flashes on the screen of her parents rushing through the portal and giving baby Kryl up. My options are, I'm sure they managed to escape, or they did not regret their actions. They did not regret their actions. Right, the Echo. Knowing you saw them as they were, your words give me great comfort. Oh, Kryl, says Sphene. Worry not, Sphene. Thanks to the Haven of Living Memory, I was at least able to meet my parents and learn what they stood for. It is enough for me to carry on. Even now, we don't know how the conflict unfolded between your parents and Preservation. But what we do know is that your mother and father cleverly expunged every last trace of their movements. They made sure no one could cross into the source or threaten the child's safety. Kryl nods at this. Right, let's press on, shall we? This tale behind the key deserves a fitting conclusion. To the director's office, says Galoo. Everybody nods, and we go. Here we go now. You can't mount in here, dear. Derp. And back to the center room to go into the northeast corridor. Scanning device. Level 3 card. Cowabunga Dirge. Wouldn't you know it, the door opened. There we go, let's go inside. Now to find that data relay. And don't be shy, everyone. Speak up if anything odd catches your eye. Mercy, come with me. I might have need of that security card. Well, then just have it, I guess. Oh, it's fine. I like you. I'll go with you. You're a cool lady. Okay. I'll talk to Shale. Yeah. Damn, this terminal isn't connected to any outside networks, so it can't be the data relay I'm looking for. This office is also smaller than the map suggested. I'm positive we're in the right room. What am I missing? False wall, maybe? Sorry, Mercy, could I ask you and the others to search the office for any clues to this infuriating puzzle? I'll do the shelves here first. You find a crumpled note wedged between the file binders. Secure room lift access requires passwords to be input simultaneously at terminals in the Proto Lab, the Deutero Lab, and the Director's Office. Cool. We talked to Wook here. Does this display do anything else? I think it's a board game. I think it's just a game. There's a missing little... So there's a blue gem, kind of ovular, a red ovular gem at the bottom. So they're both in the middle, blue at the top, red at the bottom. There's another like spot to the right where a rectangular gem could be, and there is not one in there. Dun dun dun. Beverage station that seems to be operational, but we turned the power on, so I guess why wouldn't it be? Having lain dormant for years, the now active coffee maker has already entered a new self-cleaning cycle. It appears to have no other purpose beyond brewing coffee, though it remains to be seen when it will be able to do so once more. I don't know why that's a clue, but that was information. Galulja. These drawers have only big, heavy books in them. I would have filled them with snacks. Oh, but maybe the books are hiding something. I'll check. Yeah, it could be. A cluttered side table. It looks like there's a data pad, like a stand where you could like stand up your data pad to like watch a show or whatever. Amongst other personal effects, you find what is presumably the director's data tablet. A closed locker stands next to the table. I'll examine the tablet first. You pick up the data tablet and begin skimming through the contents. Daily reports, sure. Nothing of note. The mystery of the key's activation condition remains unsolved. The key triggered an explosion today. Temporary interdimensional portal verified. Continue attempts to stabilize the core's energy reactions. 13 researchers sustained fatal injuries in the explosion. Memory faculties of 4 personnel sufficiently intact for endless conversion. Remaining 9 designated for ether reclamation processing. Nothing of note. Rejected resignations of 2 Malala researchers. Major incident, details in full report. Those 2 inept Malala broke with preservation and absconded with the key. Though the fugitives have since been caught and eliminated, we were too late to recover the relic. The only reason we retained our flesh was to serve Master Calix as physical instruments to conduct his experiments. Deprived of the object of our research, our existence serves no further purpose. I dare not imagine the depths of his disappointment in me. The complex is to be shut down. All personnel will have their bodies reduced to ether, which will be allocated for further experimentation. Memory data will be archived. Any endless conversions will be subject to Master Calix's discretion. If he does not deem us fit, then we are not deserving of eternal life. Fuck damn. Shutdown protocols. All personnel have undergone processing. Once the shutdown protocols have been completed, I will proceed with my own corporeal dissolution. As long as the key remains in the physical world, we must keep this complex in pristine condition. Whether it be needed for experiments or otherwise, it must be ready to support future operations in whatever capacity Master Calix requires. To that end, facility equipment will be maintained in stasis mode. Furthermore, a critical component for secure room access will be stored separately to defend against unauthorized entry. I guess I don't even have the option to get into the closet now. Yeah. It's Cryo. She's just in a corner, looking at a wall. Something strange about this wall. I could have sworn it flickered for a moment there. Seems solid enough now. Yeah, like I said, it's a false wall. But we'll get there. Soul cell storage case. The collection of soul cells may have once belonged to the director. They appear to be empty. Ooh, cluttered side table again. Open the locker. Cutscene. The door to the locker swings open easily. It's like a bunch of pictures of Calix, like a high school kid or middle school kid would have pictures of like famous people in their locker, at least back in my day. Is everything on tablets now? Do they even carry books anymore? I want to know these things. Anyway. And it had a couple books, but like it was a bunch of pictures on the locker walls of Calix. Weird as fuck. Alright, Square Enix. I don't know what you're doing, but it's okay. Okay, we'll talk to Shale to continue. Have you found something? Hand over the crumpled note dose. About the passwords, I think. thank you. A misplaced note, was it? Cutscene. Are the others gonna join here? Yeah, the others join. Pardon me for just a minute. You know the drill. Go to Benny's Bizarre Bananas if you want to find a discount on bananas that happen to be bizarre. That was just me trying a new thing during my little minute breaks when I can still use my voice. I'm having trouble controlling the volume of my voice. I can't remember if that's from Austin Powers or a movie he did where he was like a fortune teller dude. Was that a fortune teller? All right. Good stuff. Okay. Oops. What? Do I not have a... What the hell? That's so weird. That's so weird, guys and gals. People of all ages. What the butt monkey is happening here? It's the same old thing since 2018 in your ear. Okay, sorry about that. With instructions for accessing a secure room, with instructions for accessing a secure room, no less. Seems we need to enter a password on 3 different terminals at the same time. So that was a continuation of her talking about it being another note. That was weird. There was no such room marked on the map, was there? No, a precautionary measure, no doubt, and if passwords are involved, I expect the access lift itself is concealed too. Concealed? By electrope, you mean? Ah, could it be that wall? I thought it seemed odd when I walked past. She looks back at the wall. Remember what Kalk used to say, Shale? Never trust an electrope surface. A thumbs up from Muklamat and a nod from Shale. My options here are electrope isn't always what it appears to be, or you can pass right through electrope. I think sometimes it can become solid, right? Electrope isn't always what it appears to be. Oh, of course. Electrope is how you alter the look of all of Solution 9's floors and walls, isn't it? In which case, it shouldn't be too hard to disable. She gets to cracking. Beep, beep, beep. The wall does start to glitter and disappears, and it shows a door. Another door! I've managed to deactivate the projection, but the lock is another story. Didn't that note lay out the password protocol? I say we go ahead and try it. I agree. 2 people should prepare the lab terminals for input while the rest of us look for passwords here in the office. I'll take the proto lab. Sorry, that was Uklamat. I'll take the proto lab. Wow. Then I'll take the Deutero lab, says Sphene. Actually, it might be better if you stayed, Sphene. Your knowledge of Alexandria and its people could be needed here. Yes, you're right. If the passwords are hiding behind clues, that may be something I can help with. I can help too. I've lived my whole life in Alexandria after all, says Glulja. I will take the Deutero lab duty then. We can keep in touch via communicator to match our timing. Mercy, you shall have the honor of entering the office password, says Shale. Once we've determined what we need to input, take your place at this terminal. I'll stand by to guide Wuklamat and Kryle through the process. You know, fuck, okay, hold on. Okay, whatever. There was that display plate over there, the one with the gems. I thought since it was made of electrope, it might have some other purpose. But I couldn't find any switches or buttons to make it do anything. Maybe you can figure it out. I've completely lost her accent, not that I ever had it, as I usually say, because it's always true. Okay. There's a jewel display plate as I described earlier. The two jewels are embedded in this endless electrode plate. You identify the blue gem as a sapphire and the red gem as a garnet. There also appears to be an empty slot for another jewel to fit. Okay. Okay. Still nothing in the locker, just making sure I didn't miss anything. Sphene, I should take a closer look at these reports. One of them might have hints to the passwords. Shale? Keep calm and everything will be fine. Both of you are quick studies. Galul again. I kept searching the drawers with the books and found a cute puzzle made of electro. It's probably just a toy, but maybe? Sure, I'll try to solve the puzzle, I guess. You got it! Let's see. If I move this bit, then connect this circuit to that one. There. Huh? There was something inside. Oh, it's a pretty green stone. I think it might be Alexandrite. They say these gems were so treasured in the past that they named the kingdom after them. Here, you should hold on to this one just in case. Take it back to the display plate. Insert Alexandrite? Yes, sure. Okay, now we have... Basically, this is a map of the map that we're on right now. So, the northernmost room is the sapphire, right? Sapphire's blue, yeah. The northeastern room, I think, which is the one we're in right now. I can't remember though. Is the Alexandrite. We have the middle circle. The left room, there's nothing in there. The bottom room is the garnet, and the bottom right room is nothing as well. Oh, there's a short phrase as well. A decorative pattern, an arcane circuit, a floor plan of this complex. A floor plan of this complex? As you continue studying the display, you realize that these shapes correspond to the rooms of the complex in which you now stand. This may be related to the passwords you were looking for. What does the phrase say? The glowing words appear to be handwritten. It looks kind of cursive-y. Yes, I knew that jewel would come in handy. Let me see. Heed the stones? This must be about the special meanings Alexandrians have for gems. It's an old belief, I think, where each type of gem means something different. I bet if you ask Sphene, she could tell you more about it. After all, even her name comes from a gemstone. Sphene does? Garnet. Deuterolab. Alexandrite is the director's office. And Sapphire is the protolab. That's all I can click on. So we'll back out. We'll talk to Sphene. Yes, if you have any questions, you need only ask. If you have questions. I don't know why I keep adding words. The symbolism of Alexandrite, please. Well, I was taught that Alexandrite represents the concept of protection. It is, incidentally, also the origin of Alexandria's name. Oh, are you thinking this has something to do with the passwords? I explain. Sapphire and garnet as well, you say? Yes, they all have meanings. Alexandrite, as I said, is protection. Sapphire represents honesty, and garnet symbolizes devotion. We should try these words at the terminals and see if they're accepted. I certainly hope we're right. So I'm in the... So protection is where we are. I don't remember what she said. Oh, garnet. Did I say garnet? I think I said garnet. Wait, is Sapphire the red one? I thought Sapphires were blue. Yeah. So, protection, so yeah, whatever. We'll just try it. I could talk to her again, but... You've gathered enough information to attempt entering the passwords. We're all set to go here. Wu Clement and Kral are just waiting on their passwords. Let's start with Wu Clement in the Protolab. What word should she enter? Protolab was the top. I think it was honesty. And the password for Kral in the Deuterolab. Devotion. And lastly, what will be input for the director's office? Protection. Right, we have all 3 passwords ready. Now to enter them into the system at the same time. Cutscene. Beep, 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 boop, beep, boop, boop. Clement gives a fist and palm. Crowd gives a little, yeah. The door opens. I'm interesting that I remembered the correlation that she said. Sometimes you can get like, humans are pretty good at remembering patterns of like 3 or 4, which is why phone numbers are 3 digits followed by 4 digits. I don't know if that's exactly why, but it's back in the day when you had to remember phone numbers, you remembered 3 digits followed by 4 digits, and then area codes obviously. But back in the day, you also really didn't. People, not everyone obviously, but people generally didn't need to know phone numbers from other area codes, because we weren't connected by the internet back then, Anyway, the door opens. Yes, says Gulja. Oh, I'm so glad that worked, says Sphene. That secure room is the only place we've yet to search. If the data relay is anywhere, it has to be there. We'll venture in as soon as Wu Clement and Kral rejoin us. Cutscene goes up, fades to black, and is over. We talk to Shale to continue. Alright everyone, time to board the lift and see what awaits us. Cutscene again. We are entering the door. There's a even bigger screen and a bunch of other pretty big screens on one wall. A computer terminal looking...
This terminal doesn't look special to me, but this is definitely what we're after?
I saw it pretty quickly. There was a laptop on a table, a long table, maybe an 8 foot wide, 8 foot long table, against a wall, and there were a bunch of display screens. Everything's dark and black, nothing on except the laptop. But like a bunch of display screens on the wall, pretty big, mounted there, and then one big display screen above all those, and yeah.
It is, but whether or not it will suffice for our purposes is another question.
Shale. I love that voice. I can't do it though. She sounds like disinterested, but also smart as fuck, All of the displays light up now that she's played with the computer.
The Endless are created using the memories of the deceased. But as memories are, in essence, collections of data, the resultant entities have no physical form.
This is Krile.
These data entities, as we might call them, have only 2 methods for interacting with the material world. One of these we saw in Living Memory, where the Endless are granted temporary bodies through the use of corporeal ether. They become much like solid ghosts that one can see and touch. The other method, which Kafkiwa employed, is the remote operation of a machine. But where do you suppose the Endless are to be found when not inhabiting a physical body?
The Endless are memories, and if memories are data, then...
My options are inside Electrope somewhere, or in a world formed of data. I haven't been paying much attention, sorry. In a world formed of data?
Yes, we suspect they reside in a virtual domain, one contained entirely within an electrope-based machine. We've seen such a realm before, after all.
Oh, you mean like the Alexandria made from the Endless Fiend's memories? It all seems so real.
So this virtual domain, it would also be housed within the Meso terminal.
But how? I thought we shut down all the terminals in living memory.
You did. And Kafkiwa's program performed just as she intended. The Meso terminal itself was deactivated, as evidenced by the failure of the device which was keeping Sphne's body in stasis. Be that as it may, we face a master of electrope engineering. That he managed to partition and protect the sector harboring his own memories is well within the bounds of possibility.
Let us say that the Meso terminal does indeed contain a second domain, and that Calix himself resides there. This city, on the other hand, exists here in the source. That being the case, I thought perhaps we could prevent his remote interference by closing the gate to the Golden City, and thus severing the connection between worlds.
Except I tried to close it once already when I visited living memory. The process required administrative authorization, a restriction I assumed at the time had been imposed by the Queen.
But now you think Calix might be responsible.
Just as I suspected. Even now, security transmissions from throughout the keep are being tapped by the core system and routed elsewhere.
Hey, Pooper. You okay? There's no storms. No pain.
Almost every single one has you as its focus. He's keeping track of the keyholder's movements.
The camera has zoomed in on me as she says that. I can take him. Maybe? I don't know.
Time's up. And what a waste of time it's been.
Says a voice. All the screens go black again. Except for the big one. You get a little static, a little fuzzy. And Calix is here, looking at his screens.
Hoping to find me by tracing security data? That will not be necessary.
Hoping to find me by tracing the security data.
Through a not inconsiderable effort, I've taken your measure and prepared a force sufficient to subdue you.
I'm gonna close my eyes when he talks, just to make sure that I can understand. And I thought I could understand that. We see him still kind of, each screen shows the exact same thing. He's kind of like manipulating his floating like holographic data screens around him.
Come. I invite you to the upper reaches of the Meso terminal. Storage device which holds my memories is there. Break the memory bank and victory is yours. I, in turn, will seek to wrest the key from you with any and every means at my disposal.
And if we refuse this invitation?
I will wait and continue to convert Alexandrians into Endless. Consider the urgency of the situation and make the wiser choice.
Just 1 second, sorry.
Answer me one question, Calyx. The Endless Fiend. When she was queen, you had her face an impossible task, then manipulated her into using the key when she was at her most desperate. If you can do all that, then why not whisk it away when her plans went to ruin? Why let it fall into our hands?
You pour salt in the wound. That disaster was a miscalculation on my part.
You pour salt in the wound.
As her end drew near, Sphene and her restructured memories had become one with the terminal's control systems. In that singular place, in that singular moment, she wielded an authority greater than mine. Thus she was able to shield you, the neighboring sovereign to whom she entrusted her nation's future, and the hero to whom she entrusted that priceless key.
Oh, nice. She was able to do one last awesome thing. We see kind of flashbacks of the Queen's Fiend that we knew for so long in her
I
regalia.
am unsure to what degree she perceived my presence, but she knew that someone was watching.
I am unsure to what degree she perceived.
Does that satisfy your curiosity?
It does, thank you actually very much. Wook flashes back still to her hand on Sphene's shoulder, with Sphene putting her hand on top of hers.
It does. And I'm satisfied that you will take nothing more from this nation.
Well, he might get a little bit before we're able to stop him.
Not one more life, not one more future, not one single smile from another child's face. You hear me?
Just once, let's see a Calyx expression. Other than derision.
Sorry for losing my temper, but there's only one way we can deal with people like Calyx.
Unplug him. What?
Whatever grand future he envisions, someone will be made to pay the price. And I won't let that happen.
My options are, I'm with you, exclamation point, or let's plan our next move, or he's wrong if he thinks he's taken our measure. I like that one, that's pretty good. He's wrong if he thinks he's taken our measure. I cross my arms with a little smile on my face. She gives a fist and palm. Sphene's just watching. Little tears kind of forming in her eyes, but they don't fall. She closes
If I
them.
may, I realize it is not my place to say this.
If I may?
Even so, I must thank you both. On behalf of my other self, allow me to say how grateful I am to have you as our champions.
Yeah, calling me a champion is correct. Yeah. Yep. You got it bad. Is that how it goes? Or it's you got it, babe? I think it's bad. Anyway, cutscene pans up, goes black. But we hear more sounds. Have we taken the lift back down? It looks like it. Please keep talking. Damn it. Phew, that was an adventure, says Glool. It may not have been by the method Shale was hoping for, but at least now we know where to find Calyx and what we need to do next. Indeed, while I remain curious about Preservation's research into the key, that is an investigation for another day. Smile and nod from me. Then let's head straight to the back room. We should get everyone on the same page before we make our move, says Shale. We all walk in that direction. No, I was thinking of something else. We just get teleported to the back room, which I love. Erinville's here, and everybody else we've been with for a while here. Damn that bastard Calix. He waited until I was this close before snatching away my moment of triumph. And that infuriating, condescending way he spoke to us. We'll see whose time is up, you smug little weasel, says Shale. Anyway, I know things didn't go to plan, but we learned a great deal about preservation. That knowledge could come in handy in the days to come. Though I may not be able to contribute much to a direct confrontation, I mean to see this through with you all, providing whatever support I can. We get 1837 gil. A calculated evolution is complete. That was a lot of C's. Calculated. No, it was only 2. I'm dumb. And this video is complete. I will see you next time for whatever of mine you watch next. Gosh dang, it was a long video, and I didn't even take any like big breaks. It's crazy. Long quest.